a podcast one, there's one that works either side, and ones that works like up front, like a stage microphone, so forth and so forth. And we were trying every single one of them. And either I was sounding muffled or she was sounding muffled. And none of it makes sense.
My voice was arriving delayed.
And that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I do not understand what it is. So I was just asking my pendulum. Which sounds
what the heck is going on?
And I'm like, is the microphone broken? And he's like, no. Do we know how to work the microphone? It's like, no. He has an attitude.
Should we buy new microphones?
Like,
yes.
Probably yes. I don't know. It could be this cable that is not great anymore. I think it took a jump, or maybe in the moving, and it hurt because every microphone has like a película. How do I call that? There is like a film.
A membrane?
Yes, there's a membrane. And then if it's ruptured, it sounds like bzz, bzz, every time that you use it. And it happens when microphones like take a heat or something, or like very loud sounds or very high frequencies or very low frequencies go into it. So let's say that you're using like a very strong bass, it can kind of rupture that thing. Anyways, not important. And I think that might be the case with this microphone and why this is happening, but it still doesn't explain why Flavia was sounding delayed or blocked out.
I don't understand.
I have no idea.
Because
could usually, be like the frequency of our voices. That maybe, could be it. Like it's not capturing your frequency.
Yeah. I do speak in a lower
register.
Yeah, the neutral.
And volume.
Yes.
Yes.
So there's that.
Yeah. Anyway, we were trying to figure it out, and we have not, because this microphone is not supposed to have this kind of issues. It's supposed to be like a good one of the best ones for market. Podcasts in this price range, at least. It's not like a Shure or anything, but it's still supposed to be very good. Maybe I think we need 2 microphones. That would be the best solution for it.
You're going to be able to hear all the sounds I make.
Oh yeah, which would be just fascinating for everybody. Because most of the time it's just me, hearing the weird. Anyways, how are you guys doing?
Yes, hearing Flavia's fart.
Right?
I don't fart.
No, she does not.
Never. I've never done that in my life.
Nope. You're such a lady. Ladies do not fart.
Ladies do not fart.
Nope. How are you guys doing?
Yeah. Let us know. Tell us.
I'm just
share the tea. Spill the tea.
Yes.
Share the goss. Spill the tea. I'm silly today. Happy to be here. Sounds great. Feeling great.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. You're both sounding okay today. So beautiful.
Thank you. That's good. Because we had absolutely no idea.
Yeah. Ask Metatron. This is his specialty. Right?
Right.
Ask for his assistance in buying new microphones.
Yes. This is probably where we need his specialties. So we have Archangel Metatron with us today. And he is, how to best put this? He is such a high vibrational frequency being, absolutely out of the roof kind of feeling. And he communicates in so many different ways, as every archangel, as every angelic, from my perspective. They do something that every time that I do one of these channelings of someone that we have never done as a group before, I try to, sometimes they guide me, or sometimes I just feel guided to look at some other things that other people are saying to see if anything resonates for our group, or if he calls any attention for one specific thing. That tends to happen with some beings. Like when we were channeling, I think Odin, he brought some things up, and he pulled up like some videos on my YouTube for me to watch. And he's like, this is like an information that I would like to reiterate and things like that. And I was doing that with Metatron. And I don't feel like we have time in one channeling to just go through everything that he is and everything that he represents. We would not have time for anyone to ask any questions, is what I'm going to say, right? Because he is so vast and so works in so many different ways, because the way that I'm going to say that I'm perceiving him and the way that he's coming through for the group, he is one of the beings that, how do I say this? He is one of the beings that represents the matrix of creation of life in this universe. I think that's the best way that I can put this. So some people may say that he is, let's say, one of the projectors of the matrix and so far and so forth, but that creates like a sense of time, which he has none of. So the best way that I can think is like he represents that for us, within us, and with us as like an angelic kind of being. And he comes across with so many different stories as well, which so many of them I feel like are relevant for the group. But we will get into your questions then, so you can get to know him better. I think this would be more like an introductory kind of energy that we are working with here today, even though I think most of us have heard of him, have seen other people channeling him, or have like him as a personal guide and things like that. He wanted us to have kind of this, how am I working with you as a group, kind of thing. And let's get to know him, this version of him that is working through us, with us here today. That's the energy that he gave me. So you guys can help me with that and keeping me in line, because again, I tend to see 1,000 things at the same time, and I'm working on it to kind of narrow things down. But I just took some notes, of some specific words and some specific ways that he is working with us. So I have some notes here, but with that, please ask me questions about it. So then, or him questions about it, so then we can explain a little better, because I think that he is a being that perhaps we have not been consciously working with a lot, but he will be of great assistance for our group in the months to come. So maybe we will be working with them on a more personal level, whoever resonates with that. Maybe we will not be channeling him every month, let's say, but he will be underlying, working with us in the background with every single being that we bring through, because of that representation of the matrix of creation of life in this universe that he is, and he's working through. So whenever it is that we're working in deconstructing a belief, deconstructing a whole society, if we are being honest about it, recreating a pattern, recreating a paradigm, he holds, or he represents that well of information and wisdom to do so in a way that is beneficial for us. So as we are working through some different things as a group and as just individuals, he can be of assistance in every step of the way, because he basically is that source of knowingness for us, either like an inner knowingness, or a knowing more in our mental body, a knowing in our physical bodies, a knowing in our emotions. So emotional intelligence, for example, all of those things. He can work with every single layer, because he is that matrix of creation in a way. So that's why he's so vast, and we wouldn't have time to just go through every single aspect that he works on. So he wants us to kind of focus, like, okay, so how are we working as a group? So I have some things that I've already kind of prepared with him. And then whatever I'm telling you that calls your attention, like, oh, this feels like it's important, or it resonates with me, ask us more about this. Basically, that's what he wants, because he also wants to train us to kind of get out of the shell, is what he's making me feel. And he wants to work with you personally, that he gives me this sensation and this feeling like, I want you to call me, I want you to remember me in your cells, and I want to help you, because again, we are, as a collective, doing so many things at the same time. And it can get confusing, can get challenging, can get, whatever might be the case, he can help us clear things out in a way. So that is one of the key words I'll say about his energy, is clarity. He helps us find that clarity. He helps us find order in the chaos, in whatever way. So if it's the chaos of your mind, the chaos of your emotions, the chaos of your body, he helps you find that order, because he is that order. He is that matrix, and he represents that matrix of creation. So he can kind of just direct you like this. And sometimes it is one tiny little thing, just needs shifting. So he as this energy within us, as this angelic energy living through us, he can help us access some certain things that will just make life easier. And I'm speaking for myself, but I bet it resonates with you. That's what I want in my life. I don't want life to be hard. I don't want to be suffering. I don't want to be a martyr again. I can't, again, ain't got time for that. That's not the plan right now. So he can help us step out of those things. So one of the big key words for his energy and what he represents, what he is the archangel of, at least for us right now through this group, it's clarity, to bring us into a space of clarity. The other thing is the matrix of creation, as I just said, that he holds all of those codes, all of those energies. So that is why he works a lot with sacred geometry, with math. He can be a very mental kind of being in a way when he is in a more kind of embodied kind of energy. Very again, it's all about intelligence and order. So that's the way that he tends to come across. And divine order in general as well. So bringing everything, your perception to the divine order of the universe that is within you, for example, that is within your DNA, that is within every thought and every breath and every aspect of yourself. There is a certain divine order that can be redirected because, again, you as Metatron hold that wisdom in your cells, hold that wisdom in your body, in your mental body, in your emotional body, so forth. So again, just so many different things. And the last thing I'll say about him in this regard is that he's the archangel of wisdom, because literally he holds everything, he knows everything. And again, this knowingness is going to be manifested in different ways for different people. It could be actually a knowing, I understand this as a human, or it can be just that inner knowing, or that intuition, or that instinct, again, knowing in every way. That he holds all of that because he is that, and he is the representative of that energy, the ambassador for all of the things that we create. So that is why he's an archangel that is absolutely 100% hands-on earth right now. And he is very happy that we ended up bringing him through, that we felt the calling to bring him through today. And he wanted it to be in a smaller group at first, but we will probably make this public. So I don't know how that works, but if you are on screen, maybe we will put this on YouTube for everyone. So maybe be aware of that, right? That we need your consent, obviously, to put this on YouTube. So if you are on screen, we might email you or whatever, because this could be a good introductory message for other people. But he wanted to start kind of opening us up so we can be that voice again. And he wants to work through us like that. So yes, the archangel of wisdom, divine order, the matrix of creation, and clarity are the first things that come to me. So let's see what people are saying.
Do you want to perhaps make the whole channeling public?
Yes.
Okay, so just be mindful if you're raising your hand to come on screen, that's your consent to be on YouTube.
Yes.
Let's see what we're saying here. Go back from the beginning here.
Yes.
Better than ever. Happy to be here.
So happy to know that.
Yes. Dancing on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Super well, more peaceful than ever before in my life. Eager to discuss this piece with Metatron.
Awesome.
You guys sound beautiful and look beautiful. Thank you. Feeling good. Nice. You explained him in Archangel Haniel or Arakiel channeling.
I think it was Arakiel because he connects with her energy a lot. And we will talk a little bit about that as well. And again, if that rings any bells for you personally, let's talk about it.
And it makes sense that he wants to be more present with us during this next phase, because he's also very well known as the Archangel of Presence. So yes, we are trying to be more grounded and present in our bodies.
This is one of the things that I wrote down here.
Yeah,
actually.
So it makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
I'd love to learn from him about his relationship with sacred geometry, perhaps for a channeled class with drawings. Also, his teachings about the light body.
I think that I just wrote here sacred geometry because those are some keys to our potential. That's how he is putting it. And perhaps a whole class would be a better place for us to kind of focus this energy and work with it in a broader way. But the sacred geometries, search like math, for example, like numbers, some specific numbers or number sequences or sounds as well. And we have like some specific frequencies, light language, for example, your soul symbols, light language either spoken or drawn, so forth and so forth. Those are some keys to unlock memories that your soul holds. And sacred geometry works exactly like that. He's saying that that is the best way that we can speak about it in a broader perspective, because it has each one of them have one specific thing, or basically 1,000 things that it works with personally. But what it does is that it activates, it unlocks a part of you, and then it comes out. So for me, he makes me feel as if it works exactly like light language, and we've explained that before. It works in layers. So if you're working perhaps with the Metatron's cube, for example, which is the Merkaba, it has so many different facets of it, right? It has so many different ways to work with it, different meanings for different people and cultures and things like that. But bottom line, it is an unlocking device. So for example, we use it a lot to protect ourselves, to protect our auric field, to protect our house. That is one way that we can see it. A lot of people using it, the Metatron cube or the Merkaba, like putting yourself in that place, and your energetic field looks like a Merkaba. I think Sarit even said that in her book, like she saw people like they're like walking Merkabas everywhere
Yes.
with the lights, and it turns very fast and so forth. So again, when you're using it as a protecting device, let's say, you are unlocking the knowingness that you are safe. So you're using it as that. So every sacred geometry tends to work as like a key for any specific or a broad aspect of yourself that you are ready to deal with. So that's why we work in layers. You're working with the flower of life, for example. For some people, it's going to be extremely grounding, and that's exactly what they need. And it will represent the tree of life for them. With that, you will feel more grounded. You will remember your oneness with earth and with all of the things that are not of earth. For some people, it can be like a symbol that will take you to higher or perceived higher realms, is what he's calling it, an astral realm. Again, it's going to work in different ways, and you can use them in, again, so many different scenarios. So, yeah. He wants to see Kim's response first. Yes.
Okay. So if I'd like to learn like language, what would be the beginning steps to learn? Invoking him, asking for certain codes, and then just wait for inspiration?
Those are some ways. He's showing me that it could be something that is just waiting to be kind of activated within you, and to find the person, the being that can activate that in you. He's saying that we are called code keepers, gatekeepers. There are different names for people like us. I know I'm one of them, that I can activate light language in you in a way, but it's a very specific contract. I know that a friend did that for me. I knew she was my person. And again, you know that in your house, like that's my person. And she recorded a video for me, like in her car. And as soon as I heard it, I started speaking with her, and then it opened up for 1,000 other things, you know? So that could be the case, because that's what he's showing you to me. Like it could be kind of a shortcut to it. But for example, invoking him in you, maybe he is that code keeper for you, right? And let him bring those things for you. Let him bring that piece of yourself, that key for you, if that's the role that he's playing with you. Again, it could be a certain thing. The other thing that he wants you to know is that we will express light language in different ways. So even though we already have like a desire, let's say, to speak it or to draw it, it might come for us in a completely new way that Earth has never seen before. So the most important part about it's not, he's saying you're not going to learn it because there's nothing to learn. You will just unlock it because it's a part of you. But what it is that it will bring you to that place in yourself where you just know. And I'm going to tell you, and I bet that whoever else receives light language in any way, it doesn't make any freaking sense. When you start receiving it, you feel stupid. You're like, okay, I'm just saying blah 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 blah, blah, and that's stupid. And I don't know how, and that it's not supposed to make sense. It's a higher level of communication is what he's putting it at, such as like sacred geometry, some number combinations, and the secrets of the universe that we hold in those aspects of ourselves. Light language can come like that. So an open mind and an open heart to work with it is the first step. To know that it is coming to you, it is a part of you. And if you have the wish even to work with it, it's already there. So it's just something that kind of needs to be unlocked in a way. And that can be done in many different ways. So for example, like some people are saying that I did that with them. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it can be like in a session, and I'm going to speak to you like the codes that will open that up for you. But as it works in layers, maybe the first thing that you will receive is not that. And I think it was like that for Zuma, for example. I don't know if she's already like smiling because that's exactly how it worked for her. That's something needed to come up first. You know, it wasn't like as soon as she heard it, she just started speaking it. No, it was an acceptance perhaps first. You know, it was an openness of the heart first. And then one step at a time, she started like, I think I'm starting to receive light language. And she talked it to me, I think in one session. And she's like, I know it sounds stupid. I'm like, no, it does not sound stupid. I know what you're saying. You know, I can actually understand what you're saying, which is just beautiful and magical. And it just needs, that's you. Sorry. Thank you. So he can absolutely help you with that openness to receive and the unlocking of your codes. He will be glad to, is what he's saying. And follow your intuition, you know, because your heart already knows. It's something that is yours. I'm going to blow my nose. Let's make a song out of it. Is David here?
Yes,
he's our meme keeper.
Yes. Oh my god, of the amount of short clips of all the times that you blow your nose.
Oh my god,
genius.
And let's make a song. Can you be like the
of
Harry
you
Potter
blowing
song?
your nose and me hiccuping.
Yes.
Let's see. That's related to my question, coming out of the shell or closet. That was my intention when I lit my candle for the ceremony, clarity. I'm realizing now how much he's been working with me.
Yeah, and I was going to say that, and I don't know if I already did, but he's a very subtle being. He's not going to, for me, let's say, he's not gonna, how am I to say what he's gonna do or not? But he tends to work a little bit more in the subtlety of your thoughts, in the like he's going to give you a download, for example, and you will start unraveling those things one step at a time, and out of nowhere, you know you are in his presence, kind of thing. He's not the kind of being, at least not for me, that he's just like, what the fuck? Bang, it's here. You know, I'm sorry for that if you can hear this and Stella going freaking out. Someone is ringing the doorbell. Is that the call? Let's just see what's gonna happen. But he tends to be very can you hear Stella freaking out? Much more subtle. So he will work with you in a that is not
I don't think it's for us. The neighbors sometimes do this.
Give us just a second, please. I'm sorry. We're going to mute ourselves and we'll be right back. I'm just going to ask if they need anything. I'm sorry. We have absolutely no idea what
no
happened.
idea.
Every time the doorbell rings, Stella goes absolutely ballistic. I think she's still freaking out a little bit. But let's see what happens. But yeah, I was just saying that he tends to be a very, very subtle being. And that's my experience with the archangels in general. You know, it's not that, for example, you're going to invoke his presence, call him out, or whatever might be the way that we want to put this, that he won't come through, but he tends to show up just more subtle than most, you know, mostly from my perspective, from a mental space rather than like even a heart space, or, you know, he tends to come like through the crown, let's say, on the third eye, much more than a heart space kind of thing. Can you hear the drums beating? Because today it's a joke.
Can you hear the music?
There is like a Celtic music going on. That's good that you can hear it. It's kind of cool though.
Yeah,
but it's very distracting.
Distracting, yeah, because it sounds, because they come and go with the band, and it gets like closer and closer and louder, and like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the next? Yes. Oh my god, that's what happens with Flavia's drawings for me. Clarity. No words are needed, just the pieces of alignments to bring to my own clarity. Yep. Like a puzzle with no picture, because the picture is mine, but the drawing allows me to put the clarity together. Oh, that's so cool.
A very good way to put that. I love that.
So if I'd like to learn, no, wait. What would Metatron suggest to do? Be it imagination, grading,
to solidify an anchor.
To solidify an anchor.
I think it's greeting.
Greeting. Oh my god. To solidify and anchor the creation. Yeah. So to solidify and anchor the creation of the reality timeline that was seated in the Torisha channeling, pulling it closer to our now moment.
That's one of the things that he was going to talk. So I'm going to bring that up and then we discuss that in specific, because he's a great being to work with, to shift a timeline, to stay in a timeline, to project a timeline, to create a timeline, so forth and so forth. Any timeline work, he's a great being to call forth to work with, exactly because he holds the matrix. Everything's going to come back to that, because again, that is just a huge deal, let's say. So let's say, for example, I'm trying to explain what he's showing me, that we want to focus on that timeline that Torisha explained about, right? Where he is living. What Metatron can give you is a specific set of steps that will keep you in alignment with that through those keys that he has to offer to you, right? So, and this is strictly when you have a certain type of agreement with him to do that. So let's say that you have this question for him. This is coming from a place within you that already knows that he can help you, basically. So it might not resonate with everybody. It might not be the truth for everybody. But he, as you, as this being that obviously is working in oneness with you, he can redirect your energy because he holds the template for every single timeline. That's one of the things that he's also known for, I think, for working with the Akashic records. That's another thing that I like, the Akashic records keeper, that he keeps everything there and he knows everything exactly because he holds the matrix. So we are here in this present moment, and that's what he wants us always to focus on. It's not about what's going to be or what had been, but that Akashic record is a record of all of our power combined in sometimes what you perceive to be a book or a library or something like that, because that's our human understanding of it, and that's perfect. But this record is not really like a record. It is the matrix itself. It is the foundation in which we create life itself. So every aspect of you is already coexisting in this universe, right? In this matrix, in this multiverse that we create as God in reality. So all of it is already a part of that. So let's say that you want to specifically go into this timeline. What Metatron can offer you is a direct pathway, basically, to that. How he's going to do that, now we could talk about this forever, because again, those activations come in many different ways. It could be like an initiation that we just did. It could be a meditation that you find on YouTube that is going to activate something in you. It could be a session that you do with someone. It could be a light language that you receive. It could be just working with, for example, like grid work, working with a Metatron cube or any other sacred geometry or sacred frequency art, whatever that is, working with that in that way to kind of bring that alignment to your perception. That's all that it is also that he wants to say. Because again, right now, he's saying that the confusion that happens right now a lot in the whole spiritual community is what he's going to name it, is how he's going to label it, is because we are living in a moment where timelines are colliding all the time. So it feels like we do not have, and I don't know how many of you can resonate with this or have been through experiences like this. It feels like we do not have a solid foot in any timeline. It feels like we're like here and there and here and there and all the time. Like in one day, you are in 13 places at once, where you can see like, oh, there's a war going on there. And then there's a place in you that you know that there is not. That is absolutely fucking insane. So we are living in this mist of timelines colliding with each other because we are recreating the pattern. We are recreating the whole paradigm in which we are building life upon on earth right now. So that is why some of those timelines, they just gotta come for you to see that they still exist. You see other people are creating it, but it doesn't need to be yours. He's saying that is the only way you can eliminate a timeline. You can eliminate it for you. You can stop interacting with that timeline, and you will still be able to observe it because it is within the matrix of creation. It was created at some point, and it is happening right now. But the only way you can erase your experience within that timeline, the only way that you will stop feeding energy into that timeline, so therefore that timeline can exist, is through your own choice. Like, I will not create in this timeline. I'm removing myself. You will still be able to observe it. You will still be able to interact with people living in that timeline, but that is not your truth anymore. And again, let me know how this resonates for you. And we've been talking about this in so many different ways, specifically after the whole COVID thing happened. And I think that he's bringing this again in a very, very easy way to kind of understand. And he's saying that it is exactly that, because although we have that infinite matrix of creation, you as a being co-creating reality with your fellow ones, with your fellow angels, with your fellow humans, you are the only person who is living your life. No one else is living your life. No one else is seeing through your eyes. No one else is feeling your feelings. No one else is experiencing your experiences. You are God experiencing itself. So that means that what you see, what you perceive, what you feel, what you create is the only thing that matters. What other people are doing are of no consequence for you. And he's saying, I understand how mind-blowing that can be and how insane it can sound, because you are observing these things happening. It's like, why is that person cutting the tree if I don't want to cut the tree? I don't think cutting the tree is right. So how can I experience it if I'm not creating it? If you were not giving energy to that sad occurring, you would not be able to perceive it, simply because you are not coexisting in the same timeline, which means you are not in the same exact frequency. What is happening right now on Earth, although, is that we are a huge radio station as empaths, light workers, spiritual beings, awakened people. Labels don't matter, but just as a collective, we are not just like an antenna anymore. He said, you are a whole fucking radio station. You are receiving different frequencies from different things all the time. You are picking up different energies, because your agreement with Earth right now, and he's saying, correct me if it doesn't feel right for you, your agreement with Earth is that you will translate frequencies to be grounded into Earth, to be transformed into something that is palpable to other people, to transform into something that will be recreated in another way. But all of you have different experiences with this, but you are this channel of information. You are a bridge of consciousness, which means that you will perhaps never be able to dissociate completely to the point in which you will not see these other creations, because that's who you are, at least right now, in this moment, in this present moment, that's who you are. And he's saying, by no means I want to tell you what you are, because you are the only person that can do that, because you are creating your reality. So again, the only thing that matters is what you see, what you feel, what you perceive. Everything else is a part of something other than you, which is nothing. Nothing is other than you. Nothing is outside of you. Nothing, 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 because you are one with all. So if you stop feeding a timeline, if you stop feeding energy into something, it does not have the frequency, it does not have the matter, it does not have the life to exist anymore, which means it's not in existence anymore. Again, right now on Earth, what's going on is that you are not yet fully attuned to this one frequency anymore. And it might never be the case anymore because you are still choosing. It might still be that you will need to learn how to live. You will need to learn how to cope with this change and with this constant information. But that does not mean that the paths are not aligning to one single thing, which is love, which has always been the plan. But how you are experiencing sad love, how you are feeling sad love is the only thing that matters, because you are the only person that can give meaning to other things. No one can give meaning to things if you do not accept that meaning. So if someone said that a tree is green, at some point you accepted that it's green and you started calling it green and became green for you. And that is what you're calling it. And that is what it is. But even so, you will never be able to truly know if your sisters, your brothers are seeing the same tone of green. Their green could be yellow for all you know. You have absolutely no idea. We just decided to call it a certain thing. And that goes for every single thing on Earth, because you are the only being able to give things meaning. Nothing else has meaning. Your life doesn't have anything. You are the only being that is able to project yourself, your God, into things to the point that they become alive. And that's just what it is. So timelines are just like this. So aligning yourself to a certain perception of that timeline is all that matters, because here and now, I feel at peace with whatever is going on. Here and now, I trust that I am able to experience the highest level of love that I can right now through my own experience. And it is what it is. So you can open up yourself, obviously, to a perspective in which you can see love in everything, even in the horrid, sad, broken things on Earth. You can still feel love, and you can feel love to the point in which it reaches a neutrality, even that you do not feel like you need to change it. You do not feel like you need to interact with it, because it is not yours to take care of, which means that if I stop believing that that thing is mine to fix, there's nothing to fix, there's nothing to create, it stops existing. And it does not coexist in you in your reality anymore. As a collective, that's the only way we can really eliminate certain things. Or maybe we will never be able to eliminate. Again, it's all within our creation, but you are the only being who is able to dictate how you perceive life. No one can inflict it upon you. At some point, you are giving it a go. So that is perhaps the only thing, or the best thing I can tell you about timelines and how shifting timelines work. It is how you perceive life. And life only exists through you. And as we are infinite beings, as we are source infinite, is how he's putting it, we will never only be one. We will never be only one person living on Earth. We will always be billions. We will always be thousands and thousands of energies experiencing itself throughout the cosmos, throughout the universe and the multiverse of our creation, because that's who we are. We are source. We are infinite. So perhaps first step is forgiving. Forgiving that at some point, in some point given in time, in whatever existence of ours, we decided to create a certain thing that doesn't align with us anymore. It doesn't matter if it was me personally as the awareness that I am today, if it was me as another person in another timeline, in another parallel lifetime, it doesn't matter. If you forgive that, you are able to stop creating it. So that's one thing perhaps that he can work with you when you're shifting a timeline, or any other being that resonates with you for that. Forgiving that the thought existed, because as soon as the thought existed, the mind of God starts creating that in one way or another, in thousands of ways, actually, because that's how you work, that's how infinite you are. So the shortcut, let's say, for you to raise your awareness to a timeline that feels absolutely loving is forgiveness. Forgiving that at some point we started to create hunger or pollution or whatever it is that we do not agree with. So then you can detach from the perspective that you are here to heal it, that you are here to fix it. No, you can only fix you. You can only heal you if you believe you're broken, if you believe in it healing, right? So again, everything can only exist through you, through your eyes, through your heart, through your energy as God creating life in the whole universe. I'm going to stop here for now.
Let's see. Every single word you're saying, it chills and chills and more chills. It's chills and chills and more chills. I'm smiling because yesterday you asked, do you feel it, your body? And yes.
Yes, that's good.
Yes. I feel total synchronization of my life and this moment.
I love that. And he can bring these awarenesses as well as like what he's saying. It's like, oh my God, I was so meant to hear this kind of feeling, in not only here in this moment, let's say, but with some synchronicities that happen in your life. That's a certain way to kind of pinpoint his energy in your day to day, is that he will bring that sense of deja vu, or that, oh my God, this is so meant to be kind of feeling, because again, the matrix of all creation.
About the language, yes, it made no sense, but I felt it on a deep level. It was so activating. It
Totally.
calms me when I listen to it. I feel like I'm supposed to do this with sound and sound healing, similar to what Flavia did in a recent Reiki. Sound healing last month. Yes, just don't know what to do next.
He's saying you never know, because the next is for you to create. So literally it can be anything you want. And surrendering to you can be very helpful to eliminate any worry or any anxiety, anything that kind of derails you from the truth that if you have this desire is just like the voice of God within you saying, let's go do this. So sometimes it is not about knowing exactly what the next step is, but what is the step that we can take right now, today, and perhaps it is just sitting here and listening to this. And in the next moment, the next step is going to come up, because again, you are that matrix. It's yours. That's Akashic. That's however we want to see it.
It activated me too. It took me a while to realize it comes in many forms and not just speaking it. Yes. And synchronistically, you said it sounded like the womb of creation. And then short while later, I became aware of the Sophia Code and all the divine creatics concept. Above I meant my sound language. Yes. It's Metatron at the door.
Imagine how less.
Hi.
Hello, girls.
Your voice made me think of him with a mustache, the shirt inside the jeans, a huge belt.
So basically he is like knocking at your door to speak the word of the Lord kind of energy. That's how he looks like.
I was gonna ask what came first, the chicken or the egg? The peace I'm feeling or the flow in my life? And now I understand. I've been saying every morning I intended to wake up in my most loving timeline.
Yes, that's a great practice.
Exactly. This resonates 100%. I have been intentionally choosing the timelines I want to create in. Resonates so much. And yes, I'm very connected to Torisha timeline. It calls my soul. resonates so much. I'm so ready for a solid foundation. That's the message I received today, is we are sitting the solid foundation.
Yes, it totally feels like that. And I think we keep tapping into the same message in different ways.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yes. Perfectly explaining these multiple timelines. Eventually the timelines will separate and you find that people then completely drop out of your life.
That can happen. Yes. It's happened for me personally, that you change your frequency so much that you do not resonate with a sad circumstance or person anymore, to the point that they stop existing in your life. And it's not that they died, it's that, or you died. It's just that you do not coexist anymore because your frequencies are so completely different. And it ends up that you don't meet them, you don't see them, you don't talk to them. And you will also be presented with options to actually solidify this timeline, is what he's saying. That sometimes we really know, it's like, I know in my soul, but there are aspects of your mental body, of your emotional body, that are trying to get attached to that energy or that person or their circumstance. And you will be presented with options by yourself, of course, by your own creation, that stop it. It's like, delete this account, don't go there anymore, or this or that. No, it can be very simple things in your day-to-day life, like, unfollow this person, that you don't need this energy here with you anymore. Why are you still feeding energy into this timeline that you completely stopped creating? So in your day-to-day, you will find ways to solidify this more loving, let's say, timeline for yourself, which is very wise of you to do so. Because again, it's not that those people are bad, or no, it just simply doesn't resonate with what you are willing to create. And the version of you that co-creates with that version of you that is them is not where you're wanting to go, is not where your focus right now as the being that you are is. So you completely just stop it, and again, we could talk about timelines forever, and we keep talking about having a class about timelines, and we never do. But we're gonna get there.
Like, I think we did in one of the timelines.
Totally. I think we're gonna get there when it's time, and the perfect being is gonna come through, and we're gonna, go do that. I'm just gonna go through some other stuff that I gathered from him. So if anything calls your attention, let us know. So some things that he is great to work with on, to bring his energy in, or to bring your attention to his energy that is already there, is one of the first things that came through was to create portals. Because again, those are shortcuts. Portals can be just like a folding in the time-space continuum kind of thing. And it brings you from one space to another, like this. So to create like those quantum leaps kind of thing, and the portals to support that quantum leap, he is a very good being to work with for that, exactly because he holds the matrix of grids, or he represents that matrix. The other thing was timeline shift, which we've already talked about a lot. The other thing is healing, obviously, again, because of the timeline shift, because he can create that aspect of, let's shorten this perception of your time so then that healing can quicken up, or let's stretch this time because your physical body needs a little bit more love. It can't just jump like this in this way. So working with him for healing is something that perhaps not a lot of people do in this specific way for healing, but he's a great being to kind of align you with a version of yourself that is in perfect health, for example. And that could be a healing of your body, your physical body, your mind, your emotions, or even healing of parallel lifetimes, healing of things that happened in your quote unquote past in this lifetime, like traumatic experiences you had as a child or as an adult, or whatever that might be. Again, he can be very helpful to help you heal those things, forgive those things, so then you can realign yourself with a timeline that is more loving for you, that feels more fruitful and more joyful with all of that. He's great to work when you're working with inner knowing and trusting your inner knowing, because for me, at least, he's all about knowing, not necessarily understanding, not necessarily translating it into something human, which could be the gateway as well. So for example, if you're working with communication and better or improving your communication, he can be a being that can give you clarity in which way, for example, you should be communicating yourself. And again, he can work in so many different ways, but this is one example that is coming to me. But that inner knowing of You just know something is true for you, just know something your is your truth, or it resonates with you in a way. And sometimes it can come with the clarity of understanding how that works, and sometimes it can be just something that you know. So if you're working with that and just trusting yourself in general, he can be a very good being to work with. The other thing was to return to trust. He's a great being to help you do that, because again, he holds the matrix, he represents that matrix, and within that plethora of experiences and possibilities, everything is known, everything is you, and everything is love. So he can bring you back into that center of, I can trust this perspective, I can trust myself right now, to the point that I know what I'm creating, and I know, at least I perhaps I don't understand where this is going, but I can have that sense of trusting myself in this moment, that brings you back into the center of not spending your energy in ways that are not productive for you anymore. Because again, you chose to experience things as they are being shown to you in your reality. So again, for many different people, it's going to be different ways, but perhaps why? Why is it that inner knowing, that understanding, and that trust, that perhaps I don't need to know why, perhaps I don't need to understand, but I can trust it. But he's good to work with all of the above as well. Also, he can help you have a higher perspective on things. Kind of, he's showing me like this eagle kind of sight, like a bird of prey kind of look upon the world, which is extremely clear, and they can see from very far, and also you can see a broad spectrum of things. So whenever it is that you're feeling that you're getting too attached to things, or too enmeshed with things, or too, the things are colliding too much and you're getting confused, he can help you bring yourself out of that experience to the point that you can be a little bit more neutral about it, giving you the ability to have a better perspective, a broader, higher perspective over things. And that can be, again, anything at all. A thought that you have, something that is going on in the world, a discussion that you're having with someone, even in the moment, you can just invoke his presence, for example, like, Metatron, work through me now, show me a higher perspective of this right now, this thing that is happening right now. Just take a deep breath and allow him to kind of show you how that's playing out, in the bigger picture, and therefore where you want to go after that. And the most important of all those things he's saying is present moment. Staying in the present moment is something that he can really, really work with, because again, that's the only thing that we are experiencing is this moment. If you think about it, we have a memory as humans of what this life most of the time has brought us, right? What the experiences that we have created are, which supports the theory that time exists, right? So you have like a thought or a memory of you in your, I don't know, early childhood doing a certain thing, which brings that thought to your mind, or the belief to your mind that therefore there's a past, because I looked younger then, and that was something that is not here and now. So again, that perception is within that spectrum of all that Akashic, for example, which is this present moment. So your projection as God in the world is here and now. And all of these other things are aspects of yourself that are not truly you, if you think about it, as the individual that you are. Although, again, everything is you, so that is why you can have the perspective. But try to think about this. He's trying to kind of digest it in a better way. The you of 10 minutes ago is not you here anymore, right? Which means that it's the same thing as Flavia is not you. She is you, right? You know you are one with her, but she's not. In your individual self, again, through your eyes, only you can see, which means that, again, Flavia is you in a heart-to-heart, in a higher awareness. We are all one with each other. And that oneness is the base in which we construct all life. But the you of 10 years ago is not you anymore. And the you of 10 years ahead is not you yet. It will never be. You are only here and now. That brings a sense again of trust. That can bring a sense of awareness of yourself, of your body, of your experience, which just improves the rate in which you experience life. It just improves the way that you experience joy on earth, he says, because you are present with this moment. So you are allowing this moment to give you every little drop of joy, every little drop of feeling, every little drop of experience that it can. So not the you that was there, that was experiencing it in its own way, right? That person, they were experiencing it in the best way that they could. And you are here and now experiencing it the best way that you can as well. And you can be here thinking about this moment only, present in this moment only, or perhaps not even thinking about anything. Or you can be here thinking about that you of 10 minutes ago that said something that didn't sound right. Or you can be here thinking about that other you that is tomorrow that you know, like, what am I going to wear? What am I going to do? Or that can be another you that is like your child that you're worried about that is not here and now, or your pets, for example. So you have a choice. Again, only through your own eyes you will experience life, through your own heart, through your own experience, through your own body, through your own mind. So he's great to help you remember and regather that present moment and be here and now, which brings a deep sense of self-awareness and grounding and embodiment. So he is a great being to help you with all of that. And do you want to say anything else regarding that? He's saying, no, I just think it's a very good analogy that not a lot of people talk about. That the you of yesterday is not you anymore, even though it will always be you. And I personally had never thought about it like that. Because again, within the spectrum of everything there is, which is love and oneness, I know I am Flavia having a Flavia experience, right? And me as any, I will not ever truly see what she sees, how she sees it, how she perceives it. That doesn't take away from the fact that she is me, right? And she is me having she's God having an experience. So I'm calling myself Annie, and I'm calling myself here Flavia. So we are having different experience. We are different beings with the same source of energy from the same creatrix matrix energy, right? Thinking about that helps me personally, let's say, detach from what Flavia does with herself, with her life, right? With other people, my neighbors are doing with their lives. I do not need to understand why they're going through what they're going through. I can have compassion for them and love for them and understanding of their condition. And whatever that is for them, they are experiencing it as God. And I can have peace with that. I can have compassion for them, for people creating things that perhaps do not resonate with me right now. But when I think about me of the past, I am so judgmental of her, of what she did, of what she didn't do, of what she's eating, what she's not eating, what she's wearing, blah, 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 you know, and the me of this future, I am so, let's say, what is the word for it? It's like, I'm expecting so much of her all the time. So I have this attachment with these versions of myself that are in alignment with my perception of my mental body right now, which I do not have for Flavia, for you being here, for people in the world. So allowing yourself to have this perspective can really help you be present in the moment, which is what all that you have if you are honest with yourself. Because again, these other versions of you, they are in existence still. Every single piece of you, like the you that was Isis, the you that was Mary Magdalene or Yeshua, whatever, you are still those beings. And we are coexisting like in a pillar, you know, it's not like a timeline, like it's a sphere of all of that. And you can bring perspectives, you can bring wisdom, you can bring awareness, you can bring love from that in a way that is really going to help your life, that is going to make your life easier, more enjoyable. So I can connect with a fractal of me that I know is Mary Magdalene, and she is grounded and she's centered, and I know she's been through shit, but I will not go into that moment where she's going through shit. No, I'll go to the moment where I know she is absolutely certain of her power, absolutely grounded, because I know I can do that. So I'll go there and she will initiate me, she will activate me as me in that moment, right? But what we are doing with ourselves in this perspective, this individuality, is that we're not using only the loving things. We keep trying to carry baggages and beliefs and perspectives of things that, again, are not going to resonate. So if you have this emotional intelligence to just say, like, I don't really want to go through the traumas that Mary Magdalene lived, because I simply do not want to do that. What is this noise that you're making? Like a dragon. Did you hear that? And he's saying that this is just like you being smart, you know? But it was so like, anyways, he's saying this is just like you're being smart, utilizing your time, your essence in the best way for you. For example, you will perhaps choose to go do a meditation with someone that resonates with you. If you start listening to it and it doesn't call to your soul, you're just going to be like, you know what, thank you very much, but no, I'm not going to do this because it's not resonating with me right now. Or you will go through the whole thing, and at some point you're going to be like, not helpful because I'm not in alignment with that. And you will find like a certain person that just ignites everything in you. They're saying it's exactly the same thing. You will go into that aspect of yourself that is in that Akashic, right? That is like another you, and it will bring the best out of it to live here in this present moment, to help you heal something, to forgive something, to whatever it is, right? But are you doing that with yourself? As this individual here, in the perception of time that you have? If you can detach from that, you will be so much more successful in living in the present moment, is what he's saying. So that's why he wanted to bring this awareness to the group, and also to give examples of it in different ways, so we can connect with it in a different perspective. Because again, you can have the emotional wisdom, the intellectual wisdom to choose certain things when you feel like they are not so entwined with you. But perhaps when it's you, and he's saying it could just be you from this other perspective, or this other timeline, this past and future that you perceive, or it could be like your mom, it could be your children, that you feel so connected to, that connection becomes an attachment in your emotional body, your mental body, to the point in which you stop realizing or trusting that you are the god, the goddess of this creation, which removes you from that present moment. Because being in the present moment also brings an awareness, he says, of your power, of who you are as a divine being, of what you have to offer to earth as a whole, of what you have to offer to you. So it puts you in your place, which is a very high place, he says, which is a very empowered place. So whoever has a very hard time being present in the moment, being present in the body, being grounded, or feeling that embodiment of God, and he's saying, I can guarantee you it's most people on earth right now, because we are still building the foundation for that, and there's nothing wrong with it. But we have glimpses of it, and sometimes it lasts longer, which is the whole point of what we're doing right now, because we are looking through. He's showing me like this, what is the word for it? Like esses bagulho que tem na parede de igreja. Tipo
the stained glass?
Like the stained glass, it forms, it's a name for another thing. He's showing me like this multitude of glasses that you can turn and you look in a different way, like a prismatic kind of thing, which is just how you see life on earth. You can only see through that one perspective. So we are kind of turning things to a point in which we can see a different place in the matrix. Yes, a kaleidoscope. That's exactly what it is. He's showing me that, and I don't know. I know, but I knew someone would understand what I was trying to say. He's showing me that, and like the way that we are as a collective shifting to a different seeing glass kind of thing. We are looking through a different perspective, and through that we are becoming aware of a place, of a spectrum, of a whatever in the matrix that we have never seen before on earth, not as just beings in general, but here in this planet. And that is why the work that we're doing is so important, and that is why he's so happy, let's say, that we called him forward, and that a lot of people are feeling called to work with his energy, because he can really just help us again tune in, like turn it, and I can be the hand for you, with you, as you, to change it and to help you see, so then you can kind of map it out. It's like we are seeing something, and he's showing me like you have these glasses and you can only see the path when you have the glasses on. and you only have the glasses every once in a while. It's not like you're walking around in life like, oh my God, that's where we're going. It's beautiful and everything's beautiful and green. He's showing me. We'll go.
Like the glasses Nicolas Cage wears.
Yes,
just to read
that
the
is
map.
Exactly it. Like the independence of
treasure.
Yes. I don't know the name of it.
Movie. You can only
Totally.
see,
It's like you can only see the map when you're wearing the glasses. So you can only see the path when you're wearing those glasses. But you're not supposed to have the glasses all the time, again, because it's part of the creation. But you can absolutely have the glasses every once in a while, and reconnect with that. So then you can reconnect with the trust and reconnect. And he's saying this right now, if you're feeling, if any of what we're saying is resonating with you, this is you wearing the glasses right now. This is you remembering. It's like, okay, it is what it is. And yes, the you in 2 minutes, in 2 hours, in 2 days is going to forget. And that is perfectly fine, because that is how we are kind of recreating the thing. So trusting that this present moment is the most important moment that you have. And he can really, really help you, let's say, remain in this present moment for stretches of time, let's say, until we create the pattern on earth, or we unlock the matrix on earth. So then we can stay firm in it, if it makes sense. So that's what we're doing now as a collective. We are creating the path stone by stone so we can firmly be in this foundation, but we are in the process of constructing it. So that is why, again, we keep seeing 1,000 timelines. You feel like out of sorts. One day you feel absolutely great, and the other day you look through the window and there's fires everywhere and shit's going down. You're like, but why? And then so forth and so forth. It's perfectly normal through the path that we're walking right now. That's exactly what's supposed to be. So what really matters, what can you really do here? How you perceive life, how you decide to choose, how you are experiencing the world. Nothing else is ever going to be able to be different if you don't choose to see it in a different lens.
These are cool shades. Yeah.
He's like, yes. And he's showing me that he's wearing exactly the Nicolas Cage glasses right now. Do you guys know what we're talking about?
What is the name of the movie? The Disney movie.
That he is like in the Declaration of Independence thingy.
In the back of there's a map.
Yeah, I don't know the name of it. Dang it.
Cool movie. Regarding the people dropping out of our timeline, that's where we need to trust and stop the insistence of wanting it one way. So practice detachment, trust, and flow. I finally gotten here, but I remember,
so proud of you.
Right? But I remember not that long ago being insistent, and that insistence brought suffering.
Yes.
So happy I've understood this, and I'm choosing my most loving timeline daily.
Yes. Yeah. That is beautiful.
Because sometimes, we aligned with people for a period of time and then we don't align anymore, but we are still attached to what they meant for us and still want
what they made you feel is the thing.
Yes. It's like this version of them that we created, and it's still trying to recreate that, and that's not who neither of you are anymore.
Yeah. And it creates suffering, exactly, because you're trying to tune yourself back into a frequency that is not yours anymore. So literally every cell in your body is screaming at you because it cannot realign with that.
Doesn't mean that it won't in the future. Maybe it won't, but maybe it will.
Yeah.
Oh, I just remembered I have a young patient about 3 years old called Metatron.
Oh,
that's so cute.
I love it.
I'm going to be invoking Metatron a lot, the way you just explained. Can you repeat how it's said to invoke him?
He loves it. What?
Do you remember the invocation that you said?
Nope.
We need to do a replay. This is a game changer. Wow, I'm so happy that I'm not there anymore. Same.
Right?
Oh God, I just barked. And Flavia made that noise at the same time.
So that's your fault. So you're the dragon.
We can't drag the old of the 3D world into the new consciousness of the 5D.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. If it serves, he says.
Flavia, that's what I see him as, a dragon.
Yeah, he shows up like that sometimes. National Treasure. That's the book.
Yes.
Yeah. Not the book, the movie.
Cute movie, yes. I can't believe how empowering this information is. Best I have ever heard, Amy and Metatron. Yes.
we're glad to be of service, is what he's saying. I agree.
Wonderful channeling. Great gratitude to Metatron for providing us so much helpful information.
I have some more information here. What do you guys prefer? Should we go through that, or should we pull people on screen? I think Stella needs Bruna. I don't know why Stella is out, but she's literally just sniffing the door and like, bitches, come here right now. She has an attitude. Should I go through what he has prepared for you, or should we pull people on the screen? Because I think we only have time for either of them, and only more like 15 minutes.
Flavia, if called, would you draw again, please? Yes.
We love that.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Is Bruna saying anything?
Did I draw? I don't know.
Stella's just angry, I think.
She heard her name and was like, what? Yeah.
Is Stella okay? Are you okay, Bruna? Just so you know. Okay, so the other thing that comes up a lot when we are kind of working with him or even researching him online is that he was incarnated as Enoch. And for me, this is absolutely fascinating, and it could be, again, a personal thing. So if it resonates with you, let us know, because it's known in many different ways that, and your mom named you all with such fun names. Okay. He incarnated as Enoch, and that's how he connects with Archangel Arachiel, because Arachiel came, let's say, a little bit after, to Earth after Enoch. And Enoch kind of, well, they coexisted at some point, I think. Anyways, because Enoch lived a long time as Metatron. And I asked him, like, is this relevant and why? Because for me, it's very interesting, because I used the book of Enoch in my book, in my novel, as like a baseline, as like something to kind of construct my story. So I didn't know I was working with Metatron then. And then he's like, yeah, how do you think we connect? And I'm like, I don't know, like, how much, I was 19 when that happened. And he's like, yeah, that was me kind of nudging you. And he keeps talking about the book that we had to publish it and whatever, but not the point, because he incarnated as Enoch. And I asked him, okay, so why? Because that is not very known in the whole angelic or archangelic spectrum, that they incarnate with this, let's say, this focus point as I am Metatron kind of energy, like I am Archangel Michael. They come as fractals, which we can explain all the time if we haven't, if it's not already in your kind of perception. But he incarnated like as the collision of Metatron as a being on Earth as Enoch. And he's saying that is not how you pronounce it. It's probably like Enoch or something like that. But excuse me, I'm going to say Enoch because it's a little easier. So he did incarnate as that being. And I asked him, why? Why is it that you incarnated on Earth then? Was it because you wanted to experience life? And then again, sometimes information just comes like pow, 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 in my head. And I'm like, oh, obviously not, because you're living through me. So every archangel knows how life on Earth is. It's not like they need, like Archangel Michael needs a body as Archangel Michael to live life on Earth. And that's a lot of what I think people see with Metatron, not to take away from their power and their perception, obviously. That's not how I perceive it. Like, it's not because Metatron incarnated as Enoch that he knows better how life on Earth is, that he knows what the challenges of being human is, because again, every archangel does. That's literally their core being, being called into action in life, and that's who we are. So he again, it returns me to the why then, because it was time for a DNA upgrade on Earth on a more physical level. And not only that, so he would do that in his own lineage as a being, but he would do that with his prophecies, with his messages, with his own words. He would activate people like that. And again, we still know his name, we still know he existed. And even though he was cut out from the whole Christianity Bible part, there are some other cultures that still use his book as one of their things. And he's saying, like, as all of those kind of ancient, as you perceive, prophecies and things like that, they sound very like doomsday kind of thing, all of them. And that is one of the things that it has always been so fascinating for me, and that I wrote in my book about, like, oh, it's going to be the end of times, and they are always prophesizing the end of times. But what sometimes, like, we see the end of times as a Hollywoodian kind of spectrum, like the world is going to end and everything's just going to go to shit and the world's going to crack and all of that. But are we not going through an end of times right now? The end of time as we know, the end of life as we know, the end of a paradigm, the end of, we are recreating a new thing. So that's just what a DNA upgrade is, right? That you're receiving a different aspect of yourself that perhaps you were not ready to live on Earth as humans yet, in the environment of Earth. But we are bringing this quote unquote upgrades, or these unlockings of our potentials, to the point in which we can resonate with that frequency, and that frequency can then exist in this world. So that's all that DNA upgrades are. He doesn't even like that word, because it's not like you need to be upgraded. It's an unlocking of something that obviously was already yours, has already been there, exactly because you co-created this reality. You are creating it in every single moment. So again, it's like turning that kaleidoscope and looking through a different place of the matrix within you. That's what a DNA upgrade is. So he brought his energy, and his twin brother as well, which incarnated as someone else, I think, which is Sandalphon. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But both of them were incarnated to actually bring this physical change in the DNA on Earth, and the physical awareness of some things, like, let's point these things out, so then you can unlock it in a different way. And what happened is that, again, you are shifting a frequency, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with people having fear over the things that he said, for example, because some of them sound a little weird in our translation, sound a little bit like we are going crazy, or that the world is going to end, or that giants were eating people, because again, that's how we translated them to be. And that's our perception, and that's all that our frequency was able to kind of capture, So again, you're tuning your own antenna again and again as humans on Earth, and not only humans, but every single being living on Earth. The whole frequency of the planet is changing. And again, it doesn't mean that it was lower and it was bad and now it's getting good. No. It's just a different awareness, a different way of living that we are wishing for the planet. And we all of us that are here now, he says, you all are very passionate about it, about this shifting, about the creation and the co-creation of Earth. So what he brought as Enoch was exactly that. The codes in which we would be unlocking for thousands of years that needed to kind of be done in a more like, okay, let me just go there and do this kind of energy. But he is us, obviously. So he was this, again, this representation of the matrix that we kind of implanted on Earth in a way that we would be able to unlock it step by step, which he brings about the knowledge of how Pleiadians worked with Lemurians to create what humans are today. We did not understand it like that. We are calling it a different thing. And again, how we're calling it is, it has no effect. And I think it's not really important. What's important to know, he says, is that we have planted this knowing in our collective DNA memory, so we could actually use the tools that we have today. So we could use the keys that, again, Metatron holds, because again, he is that all, or whoever else holds and we hold and everything else, to unlock those memories that we planted in our DNA, so we could change our vibration, so we could change our perception of life. So that is why he came as Enoch. And again, he was misinterpreted. He was read wrong in many ways. And some of the work was that he actually wrote, and a lot of it was not, he says. So again, it's the tellings, exactly like what happened with Yeshua. Someone saw Yeshua once talking about something, and they have a perspective of Yeshua, and they didn't write about it. They actually told their kids about it, and their kids told their kids about it. And then someone, when they had the ability to write it, they wrote it down. That's a lot of what happened with Enoch as well. Although we do have the book of Enoch, some of the things happening there was that he told people exactly what to write, or he wrote down. A lot of it has been interpreted in a way, again, it's a he said, she said kind of thing, like hearsay, that's not exactly what happened in that moment, what he brought in that moment. But that doesn't matter, because again, we have the version of it that we have. So it was like a coming of we need this awareness here now. So again, he brought what, I'm sorry, bless you.
Thank you.
What we talked about with Arakiel, with all the things that Enoch kind of prophesied that they brought as these angelic beings on earth, is exactly what Metatron came here kind of to prepare the soil for. That's exactly what it was. And we still hold that connection. So, for example, he is Noah's great-grandfather or something like that. And Noah was a being that, for me personally, when I connect with his energy, he's just like Horus, just like the incarnated version of Ra, just like Sarit, for example, a being that had much more galactic DNA than the normal human DNA. And he was absolutely weird. Nobody understood him, to the point in which people didn't even want to coexist with him because he was so different in frequency, obviously. So he brought a completely different awareness to Earth. And Enoch came to kind of plant this DNA in his line, literally like to breed that, so the frequency could support Noah, so we could support Yeshua, so we could support who we are right now, and most importantly, the beings that we are bringing to Earth right now, because it keeps getting more and more and more galactic, but it doesn't need to be like a Pleiadian will come have sex with a human and that's going to happen. No, because we have that imprint in our DNA regardless. So what he came here to do was exactly that. And he lived, I think, there's an account of years, like 300 and something. I think it's like 365 years that he lived, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's a little bit more than that because time was counted differently when he was here. But that's not important. And there is the whole story of his whole ascension, that he is one of the only beings on earth that literally was taken out body and soul and everything, exactly because he projected himself in a body and he was born as a human. But that projection stopped existing because he understood and he kind of unlocked all of those memories, which is, again, a channeling for another time. If anyone finds that interesting, to perhaps bring Enoch and Metatron to talk more about that and how that has a connection with us right now. But it is a lot of what the giants that they talk about, and those are all galactic beings and all aliens, obviously, because these angelic beings are aliens. And then I was asking him, like, okay, so who are you then as the aliens? How can we kind of name you in a way, in a group that will be more understandable? Where are you from in the galaxy? And it's so much more beyond than all of that, that creation and all of that. But the only name that I get is the Elohim. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. That's how I hear it from him. But if it's like a planet, there is like some specific planets and galaxies in which these angelic or archangelic energies come from, but they are also not there. They are more like archetypes within our own creation that is not at all kind of incarnating in specific planets, let's say, in specific places on the planet, although they are everywhere. So again, not very helpful train of thought, but I just thought that was fascinating in the way that it kind of leads you into that remembrance of Atlantis and Lemuria, and the way that Pleiadian mothers came to Earth, and how we created the DNA as it is on Earth right now, and what we needed to change, and moments in which we needed intervention, let's say from ourselves as these galactic beings to come to Earth. And again, I think we mentioned that in Arakiel's channeling as well, that obviously that you would think those beings are angels. Even, it's like, they are coming from the sky. They have this glowing energy about them. They feel like they are much more evolved, not just like in an emotional mental state, but literally they have spaceships, that they can fly, they can do things. So obviously, how would you interpret them? As perhaps angels? And what would their, what is the word, like their prole? How do you say
Offspring.
that? Yes, what would their offspring be? They would be hybrids, and they would have completely different aspects of themselves that humans in those moments were not aware of. But who is to say that we are not exactly like that, or much more quote unquote evolved than that aspect of ourselves? So again, all of this to say that this energy, as we know, as Metatron, this aspect of us, of our collective, of this angelic energy, he is absolutely hands-on earth, he is our awareness of how long we can, how far we can go is the best way that I can put this. It's like that dream that you have of earth, of this beautiful blue planet flourishing with life in every way, with compassion everywhere, and love expressed in the most beautiful ways, and everybody getting along and everybody feeling happy. He holds the key for that for us. So we can kind of, as him, through us, unlock those memories and create that step by step. But he's saying, if the point was, he's saying, this will be my final message for you today, so I can let the girls rest. If the point was for us to go straight to that blue beacon of light that you can see in your mind now, that perfect earth, that loving planet with nobody not getting along, with no hunger, no fear, if the plan was that, it would have been the plan. It would have been the existence. It would have been what we wanted Earth to be. We did not want Earth to be like that. We wanted the free will to see those timelines and not, to work with them or not, to live love in different facets than what we were living as beings in other planets. We wanted to see what love felt like when you called it fear. We wanted to see what love, what oneness, what source, what the universe, whatever we want to call it, felt like when we called it anxiety, when we called it depression, when we called it grief and sadness. That is exactly why we have thousands upon thousands and billions and trillions of planets and stars and places in which we coexist. Earth has always been a place for us to experience love in so many different ways. And the changing of our perception, the changing of our wish will come with the change that we are creating right now. And it will come with step and step. And we will create that only through love. That's the only way that we are able to. We don't know any other way. There is no other way. In this universe, we create with love, through love, from love, and there is no other way. So whatever it is that you call that is aside from that love, it is not. It is not a side of oneness. There is nothing that can be. In your perception of it is the only thing that matters. So again, if that perfect version of you, of the planet, of the world, of the universe was meant to be only that, it would have been only that. It was never meant to be limited. It was never meant to be only one thing. You want to feel the experience. So that is why we will focus now as a group, as a collective, to ground here and now. That is exactly what you're feeling called to do, because the point is to experience. Earth is a playground, as you call it. It is a place in which you create fun, that you can actually, and that fun, what is it? It is God experiencing physicality. It is God experiencing itself in every way, shape, and form, and enjoying the hell out of it, because that's the point. And you can only do that with presence of body, mind, emotions, and soul. That is the only way you'll be able to do that. To create that beautiful image of yourself, of your life, of your planet, can only be done through love, through acceptance, and through step and step and step. Because again, if the point was for you to experience only one vibration of love, that's the only thing you would be feeling right now. That's the only thing you will be experiencing right now. And Earth is not about that. And if you are here, you are as hands-on as I am. You are as invested as I am, because this is ours. This is our baby. This is our experiment. And we love it more than anything. So this is my final message for you today. Thank you, he says, for your willingness to be here. And he shall come back as soon as we are ready for him again, he says. So the last thing I personally want to tell you about his energy is that he can be, at the same time that he brings this presence, his energy is so subtle, he can unground you. If you are already prone to be ungrounded, he can just take you out, immediately, because again, his energy is so subtle that for you to resonate with him like you are right now, perhaps your body doesn't have yet the awareness to bring it 100% here. So do anything you can to ground if you feel that's necessary for you. I know it feels like a paradox to everything that we just said. My personal experience, again, is that he can work in a vibration that perhaps your body is not ready to fully embody or is not yet fully embodying, and it can make you get out of your own perception of yourself. So do something now, at least like 5-10 minutes, if you can, just step on the ground or do a meditation or do something that is grounding for you. Do that, and that will also help, he said, I said I was going to say the last thing, but I'm just going to say this. It will help you absorb and integrate what he told us today. This grounding is going to help you. So thank you so much. I'm so sorry we didn't get to bring anybody on the screen. Sorry for everyone that has their hands raising. He just wanted to just bring all of that, and that's what we wanted to do with him today. So anyways, thank you. We love you.
Thank you. See you next weekend. And if you want to get Metatron's portrait with the channeled message, it's on our Etsy store with 50% off.
Only until tomorrow?
Until tomorrow. Yes. So if you use the code CUBE613, you get 50% off of it. So
yes.
Really awesome deal.
Let us know how this resonates with you, in the days to come, and how this was for you. On Discord, it's always very helpful to have you commenting things there.
Yes.
Also, so then other people can see it, and perhaps it calls to them as well, so they can get access to this. It can activate them, because I see that happening all the time. Like you activate each other, like we activate you and you activate us. So if you have anything that you want to comment on the open channel on Discord, so then other people can also see that and feel his presence, because he really wants to come through for more people. And what he wanted to do here is that we are all going to become these roots for his energy to come through for the group. So tell us how you're working with him, what his energy is feeling like for you, and we will keep this conversation going on our social media. Okay? We love you guys.
Love
and we'll
you.
see you next weekend.
Yes.